Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Authentic Albertan. Here we are in the alcove in this new season with Courtney. Courtney, how are you today?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good, good. How's your November been?
Just working lots. I work at a little cafe and just trying to get my partner permanent residency, which is a big task in itself. So yeah, just trying to get all those bits organized, which can be lots of work. And then, of course, stained glass things. Doing lots of custom orders for Christmas and getting things ready for markets, which is lots of fun.
Lots of Christmas tree ornaments for sure.
Yeah, I have a big fat pile that's like crying for me to foil them, and I'm just not ready to sit down and foil because it'll take forever and ever.
Right. So how did this all begin? You know, if you weren't making glass, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Anything really. I just love a craft, but it started, my grandma gifted me a box of glass. She said that she'd used to do it in the past, and she was like, oh, I have lots of other tools kicking around, so I'll find them for you. That day never came, and I'm very, very stubborn. So I was like, I really want to try the stained glass. I'm just going to go out and buy all the tools myself. So I went and splurged on like all the equipment that you need for it. And then once I had done that, I was like, I've invested quite a lot of money. I may as well just like make a whole go of it. And I feel like that's kind of what started the process of everything, was just, a simple box of broken glass. So it was either that or leather work. And I feel like my neighbors probably appreciate glass work over leather work, because I've heard it's a lot of like just pounding things in all the time.
Yeah, of course. Well, leather is tough, you know.
Yeah, tough. And I really feel like this has been the one hobby that I've stuck to, because I've tried lots of things over the years, drawing, painting, your usual.
Were you like the artsy kid back in high school?
No. I was like very quiet, didn't take any art classes. I did a lot of hairstyling. That's what I did in a past life, I guess.
And I can see it. Look at that.
Yeah, fresh. So I like closeted artsy, I guess you would say. Like I always had my walls collaged with every magazine thing and just like making my own little stuff, but not actually in school classes, if that makes sense. So it's nice that later on in life, this has come into my life, and it just a nice way to, I don't know, just break down the day, or, get out of your head and just create something really beautiful out of almost nothing, just little bits and pieces. So.
Was there someone who, well, I know you told me about your grandma, but was there somebody else who mentored you through this process?
It's been lots of University of YouTube, which is like super,
University.
Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely great. Very, very resourceful. There's a girl, I forget her handle, but her name is Mackenzie on YouTube, and she has tons of great videos on all the steps of stained glass, which were very, very beneficial. Just social in general, I think, has been very helpful in this process, because there's so many great creators out there, and they are happy to share all their tips and tricks, which is, great for people like me, because I love classes and stuff, but I don't like going by myself. And like I said, I'm stubborn, so I need to learn it on my own, I feel like, maybe to get that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Yeah. That's where I feel like it's just nice to have those resources. There's a girl, Colorado Glassworks on Instagram, does some amazing stuff. We've got lots of really good artists in Calgary as well that do stained glass. Glimpse Glass does lots of like 3D sculptures, which are really, really cool. And there's another guy, his name is Ted Schneider, that likes to use like wood pieces and all kinds of different bits in stained glass. So it's really cool to just get all the things at once, and you're like, I want to try that and that one and that one.
Where does this glass thing just suddenly come up?
Yeah, just when we were, like I said, I was just at my grandparents, and love them to death, but they're hoarders. So there's always lots of things, and I think they're just kind of at that point where they're trying to clean up a little bit. And my grandma just said, I have these things. What do you want? And always need to be busy. I'm not very good at sitting still. I need to be doing something. I love trying new things all the time. And like I said, I've tried lots of hobbies that just didn't really stick. So the idea of trying something new and having all the supplies at once was very handy. And then it really just grew from there. I feel like it kind of feels like putting together a puzzle, and I love puzzles
For sure.
all the time. So in every step, you get to put together this puzzle, and then once you're done, it's this big, beautiful thing, and then you get the sun in it, and it's like different through the sun as well. So just all kinds of magic that happens that kind of kept me hooked. So I guess to answer the question was a box of glass, and then just like, what is it? Motivation follows action. So from doing a lot of glass, it just kind of kept rolling.
And how does the process work?
So I actually have some bits. So everything kind of starts out in like little glass pieces, usually bigger squares than that. It'll come like 12 by 12 or however you want to get it. And then I'll draw a little pattern out, either directly on the glass or I'll sticker it on just so the paper stays where you want it.
It's very firm, very, very soft too.
Yeah. And then you get to score and break. So this is a piece that has been scored and broken.
Okay, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you hold it together with the tape.
Yeah, that would be a little bit easier. And then you get to grind it. So there's a fancy grinder for glass. So you grind all the bits just so they can kind of fit together a little bit better.
I see.
And then also because your next step is to copper foil them. So if I were to try and copper foil the first one without grinding, it'd just be very bumpy, it wouldn't stick together very well, would probably fall apart faster, I would assume, like just the copper would peel off. And then from there, solder a little bit of it.
Look at that. Wow.
Lots of fun. So some people do what they call like tack soldering on the edges so that everything can be nice and flat. I like to wrap mine in hobby came. This isn't what I usually use, but it's something similar. It's just like lead came, you wrap around the piece to make it stronger so that once it's all together, that's like our final product there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thanks.
How it all comes together, and again, you're taking things, like there's always that saying about not crying over spilled glass.
There's crying over broken glass.
Broken glass, it's one of those words. But you're taking that broken glass, that feeling of hopelessness, and you're turning it into something new.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like there's just so many different colors and textures and all different things to play around with. So possibilities really truly feel endless. And lately I've been getting into a little bit more like 3D pieces or say functional bits of glass. Like I got the clock here. I've done a plant stand. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Nice.
Thanks.
Kind of looks like it would feel like a Beetlejuice movie.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I should have done. I'm working on, have you ever seen Invader Zim?
Yeah.
Back in the day? Or sorry, not Invader Zim, The Grim Adventures of Bill and Mandy.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Grim Reaper
with
from
the Grim
that.
Reaper. Oh, no way, actually.
So I have...
he had like a Jamaican voice.
Yes. He did. Great show, absolutely great show. So I have a piece that I'm kind of working on designing for that guy, which I think will be lots of fun.
And you're building like his full body, or just the head, or
I think like the
side?
head, and it's the one where he's like this, so it's just going to be kind of like an oval piece and him in the middle. I just got to work out how I want to do the background in glass. Yeah.
That's awesome. You should definitely, if you do make it, definitely post it on Instagram and tag the creator, Maxwell
absolutely.
Adams, because he still posts a lot about Billy and Mandy. I follow him.
Okay. Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to do
I'm
that
sure he'd
for
love
sure. Maybe he'll buy it. That would be nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
So aside from Billy and Mandy, aside from SpongeBob, any other pop culture references that pop up?
I mean, there's lots that are on my list to do. When they'll get done, I don't know. I'd love to try and do a Homer in the Bushes, but like
Yeah.
somehow have an actual plant in there with the glass. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Paw. I'm doing a Penguins logo for someone for Christmas, the
Okay.
hockey team.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So just working on that. Nothing else super pop culture-y that I can think of off the top of my head. Watch, there probably is one super obvious thing, and I'll get home and I'll be like, what was that?
You know, I think you could do if you're a big fan of the Ghostbusters, the logo, definitely.
That would be very cool
Definitely
in
glass,
glass.
yeah.
That would be very, very cool. Maybe I'll start working that for next Halloween.
Yeah, yeah, that could work. It's great when you get to pay homage to like the franchises that you love, the
Yeah.
stuff that you grew up on.
Absolutely.
I remember when I was in SAIT, I was studying film and video production.
Okay, cool.
We got an assignment to recreate a scene.
Yeah.
And my friend and I, we picked the interrogation scene from The Dark Knight. And he was
Amazing.
Batman and I was Joker.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, it was still great. And again, you get to relieve that passion that you had
Yeah, yeah.
when just starting out,
absolutely.
when being a kid and all that stuff.
Yeah. Did you watch the new Joker?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's very good.
You
Very,
liked
very
it?
good. Yeah, yeah. I guess
I
that was the
heard I
latest
heard
movie
mixed
watched.
I heard mixed reception. So
I
wait,
know, it's
Joker
great.
2 or the Joker that came out in 2019?
Joker 2.
Oh.
Like the new one with Lady Gaga.
No, I haven't seen that one. That's the one I heard like mixed reception. So I'm like,
It's so good.
maybe I'm just gonna leave because I did see the first one when it came out.
Okay,
So
yeah.
maybe I'm just gonna leave my memory of that one as that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Very good movie. Very good movie. How was the first glass thing that you make?
I
did it
have
go
it
through?
here. It's very janky.
Yeah.
So I actually got this from a kit in Michael's because, like I said,
There we go.
my grandma didn't necessarily have all the bits and pieces that she said she had. So this is the very first piece that still hangs
Wow.
somewhat proudly in my house. Yeah, just very, very janky in comparison, but we all start somewhere. And
It kind of looks like a diamond.
yeah, it's supposed to be like some crystals hanging out. But yeah, just a reminder that, start from the bottom and your solder lines get better and better and better.
And what was making that piece, like actually putting it together, and then how long did it take you the first time?
Oh, I actually don't know. It was very frustrating, obviously, when you try anything new. Mostly, too, because the kit that I had gotten didn't have very clear instructions. And again, I'm stubborn, so you watch like one video and think that you can just do it again straight away. And so you just get very frustrated very easily, and solder, or I always say to my partner, like, sometimes I wish I picked an art form that was on paper or a little bit less expensive, because if you break a bit of glass, you can't just solder, that gap in there, because then your piece is going to look a bit off, if that makes sense. You just have to recut and go again. It was hard, but I'm very glad I did it, obviously, because I carried on. And yeah, just lots of learning curves with it, which was very nice. Particularly with solder, and that there are different kinds of solder and different tools. More expensive tools usually do the job a bit better than, something that was $40. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah. Wow. I think you must have taken, on average, how long does it take you to create this?
For a smaller piece, maybe something like this that only has 5 bits in it,
Yeah.
I would say 2 to 3 hours if I could do it start to finish. But a lot of times I'll break a lot of glass first. So I just have different projects in different stages of things. So I'll have a lot of things that are ready to be ground, and then a lot of things that are ready to be foiled, a lot of things that'll be ready to be soldered. So it does span over days and days of time, along with trying to do a part-time job, you know.
Yeah.
But if I could do it start to finish, maybe 2 to 3 hours depending on the piece, because there's just so many different times that you're handling the glass and the piece, and you know, cleaning and then patina and waxing it and all the different things. So every time I think I'm done, I'm not actually done.
How often have you cut yourself?
Oh, many a time.
Many times?
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
sure I have some slices on here now. Nothing too bad, knock on wood. That's not wood, knock on wood. Yeah, nothing too bad yet. You kind of get used to, I don't know, kind of how it works. And
You don't feel cuts in your
what's a
fingers
dangerous-
anymore. You're just like, oh, I'm bleeding. Huh?
Yeah, genuinely. And I don't know if that's from burning my hands as a stylist or what. So maybe it like, what is it, like when guitar players get the calluses?
The calluses.
So
yeah,
maybe
I
hairstyling
got some
helps
right here, yeah.
help do that. It's not too bad. Like I said, the most painful thing is when a piece breaks, and it's usually you don't have any more of that glass, so you can't do it again. You have to either pick a whole new color scheme or wait till you can go to the shops and buy some more and like hope they have it.
And why did you pick the name Jim Glacier? Where did that come from?
I just thought it was funny. Yeah, before I started on social or anything, I was like, I have to have a really good name.
Yes.
Like something just a little bit silly, but something that people might remember.
So how was your first year like? What challenges did you encounter?
Just lots of learning on how to break glass properly, because it's not like drawing where you can just draw a square and cut it out and it's going to be a perfect square. You can't do, say, a right angle with stained glass. So I could never cut these 3 pieces into one piece, if that makes sense. It would just shatter completely. So there's different rules on how you can break it. You can get ring saws, which will help get some really cool shapes and things in there. But I'm just kind of a bit old school still with the little glass Toyo cutter, no fancy tools yet. So I'd say that was kind of my biggest challenge, was just learning, you know, what you can and can't do in terms of cutting. And that really, I don't want to say limits, but it determines your design as well, is, you know, which way you're going to cut it and all those things. I did my biggest piece for my aunt a couple months ago, and a learning curve there was with zinc cane. So I usually wrap the pieces with hobby cane. And because this piece was so big, I was told that I should use zinc cane because it'd be a bit stronger. So I'm doing all my usual things with it, and I spent like 2 hours alone soldering this thing, and I go to put the black patina on, and everything's going but the frame, and I'm so close to throwing it out the window. I'm like, sorry.
Out of frustration. Just
Absolutely,
get it out of my face.
Because there's a different rule with zinc, apparently, and patina, and I didn't learn that. So that was a big learning curve. And
Had to go back to YouTube University.
yeah, I actually ended up spray painting it black. I like taped over the glass, and then I ended up spray painting the border because I was like, I just can't stand to do this one more time. But I also learned that it's a problem that a lot of artists in the community face. So it was nice to know it wasn't just me, because sometimes you're like, what am I doing wrong? But it wasn't just me. Now I know for the next one, I'm just going to spray paint it straight away and save myself the stress.
Yeah, that's the one downside to going solo at things. Like, I feel like when you're collaborating with a team, with other people, they'll say stuff like, yeah, we've all been there. We know how it is.
Yeah,
Whereas when you're by
absolutely.
yourself, you just overcomplicate it. You overthink it.
Yeah, and then you're just like, what's wrong with me?
So you've built out, let's say, the first 5 pieces, the first 6 pieces. How do you get into selling them? How do you find your market, your audience?
That I feel like I'm still kind of working on. I just started with an Instagram and then an Etsy, and just kind of went from there. And I was like, whatever happens, happens, and we'll kind of learn and grow with this. So it was actually very cool. My first piece got sent to the States.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was like, that's actually pretty
Nice.
cool. Or my first piece that wasn't like family commissioned.
That wasn't this.
No, I couldn't. I waited quite a few months before I was ready to charge people for it. I just couldn't stand the thought of being like, money, please. Here's this very ridiculous looking thing. Yeah, just really learning and growing. And then with Etsy, there's lots of different things of fees, and it's always changing. So I feel like it's not the site it used to be. So I'm just navigating into my own website, so people can buy directly from there without having to go through Etsy. That comes with all of its challenges because I'm not super techy. So just learning curves with all those things, and it's just so much work. Like, props to everyone that runs a full small business, because like just this part-time one. Yeah.
It's your baby.
Just a lot of work in the photos and the tags, and then with social media now, you almost feel like you have to be making reels and content 24/7 just to keep up. So you're always trying to do something
to get the engagement going.
Yeah, it's just lots and lots of work, and lots of learning challenges, which I do like. I like learn something new every day and just try and grow with glass as a person from there. So yeah, it's been a challenge, but I'm here for it. And then markets, I guess, was another way I started selling. My first one was at the Barn in Shaughnessy, which is a very cool market that they put on every month, and they're super welcoming, which was very nice because it's very daunting to go into your first market. You're like, just to do anything really. You're like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and trying to build displays and make things look nice. You're like, what will draw people in? What will do this? And I'm quite a shy person, so to try and get people to come into a table, it feels like a lot for me. So I'll always bring my partner. He's always voluntold to come to these parties. And he's, life of the party, which is great. And brings people in and chats, and he's like my biggest supporter, which is nice. He's like, look at this and look at it through the light. And he's very fun. So it helps if you have a fun partner to come to markets with, and,
to keep you going.
Keep it going and just kind of break the ice a little bit, because it's already like a lot of pressure, whether it's me putting that on myself or just actual pressure. Different story. So yeah, just slowly getting into the market scene. A lot of sales also have come from commissions, which has been lots of fun, just doing custom pieces. There's a tattoo artist here in Calgary, Nicole. I'm a Cat Meow Tattoos. She's very fun, but we traded a bananas for scale. I don't know if that's a term you're familiar with. It's like a Reddit thing, apparently.
Like you traded a tattoo for a glass piece?
For a piece of glass, yeah. So she wanted bananas for scale. So I did like a 9-inch, a 6-inch, and a 3-inch banana, and then I got a little banana tattoo in exchange. So that was lots of fun.
How many tattoos do you have?
Ooh.
Lost count?
Yeah, I'd say anywhere between like 15 to 20. Yeah, in between there somewhere. Lost count a couple of years ago, I think.
But that's really good to see, stepping into the markets and then distributing your hard work and see people buy it, see people like it, see people enjoy it.
Yeah, that's definitely the best part, is just seeing all the fun that people have with it, or, because it will look one way on a wall and then a different way in light. And I think that's one thing people think they have to hang stained glass in a window. And I'm like, I have a whole gallery wall of just pieces, and like they look absolutely stunning just on a wall.
Have you ever thought of making religious glass pieces?
Not yet, but I definitely could. If someone wanted me to, I would. I don't know.
That's when you mentioned like stained glass. I'm like, stained glass windows, church.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a whole different beast. So this is copper foiled stained glass.
Okay.
Typically, those ones would be leaded stained glass. So instead of the copper foil that I showed you, it's just the raw pieces, and then they have little bits of like H-channel lead cane that they'll squish between, so it looks like these solder lines without doing that, if that makes sense.
Without doing the bumps, right?
Yeah, well, without doing the copper tape and then soldering on top.
Okay.
It's almost like that solder is built in and you're kind of piecing it in. So you'd cut a length like that big and slide that in there and do all those things. So it's a whole nother kind of stained glass. And then people will paint on there, which is a whole nother beast in itself. I'm like slowly treading my feet into.
Learning the different techniques and everything.
Yeah, and you just have to be so patient when you're painting glass.
What's the latest one that you challenged yourself with?
I did a custom cat, which was very fun, but I almost said no because it's someone's pet. So you want this thing to look exactly like the pet. You can't have it look a little off because then that's going to be something that everyone's
Somebody
talking
else's
about.
pet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or, it'd just be maybe spoken about in a, not necessarily a negative way, but maybe a funny way when people are like, oh, that stained glass cat you have that doesn't look like your cat. So I was very, very cautious. It took me a lot of time, and just, painting the details in the eyes, I think was the hardest challenge. I'm very glad I did do it instead of turning her down, because the piece is absolutely beautiful in the end and she really loved it. But definitely one of those things where you're like hunched over painting for the millionth time. You're just like, I should have said no. Why do I do this to myself?
How many layers of paint do you require to fully paint the glass?
It depends on the piece, just because you can only do it in very, very thin layers. And you have to do it, you have to let it dry about an hour in between each layer. So it's not something that you can just like stick a fan on and then quickly paint again. So yeah, the eyes I think was probably about 10 layers of paint. And then you have to bake it in the oven, which is another hour and a bit time. But you just hope that nothing happens, because I've had glass that I've spent hours painting and did these cute little mushrooms and put them all in my oven, and just the paint is so bubbly. So I'm still trying to work out why that happened that particular way. Just another learning curve.
Yeah. What about distributing them worldwide? How do you manage the shipping? How do you make sure that they stay in one piece?
Yeah, that I've been very lucky and only had one piece smash, which I do think kind of comes down to the way that I packaged it. I was probably being a bit lazy, maybe. Just lots of bubble wrap, and I try and just reuse as much as I can. So like my packaging when it gets to the person's house is not pretty. And I have like full disclosure on it. I'm like, this is not going to be Instagrammable packaging. Like, we're here to reuse and do all the things for the planet. So it's usually old boxes that I find, lots of bubble wrap, lots of flyers that go in my recycling bin at our mailboxes, crumpled up bits of paper, and I just really, really pack it into like a little flat pack, and then more bubble wrap or bubble packaging on top of that. Yeah, it really depends on the piece. Like if it's a smaller piece, I know it's going to be a little bit more structurally sound. So not that I'd like skimp out, but it's just a little bit easier to package, and I know that it's not going to get stepped on or be a pressure point anywhere in the glass is not big enough. So yeah, just try and make sure it's sound, and then you put it in the thing and do like a little shake test, and and then ship it off to its lovely new home.
What's the farthest you've ever shipped to?
To England,
To England,
actually. Yeah. I had one of my partner's neighbors, like childhood neighbors, order something from me, which was very, very sweet. So sent that off. Yeah, just after I started as well, which was very lovely.
Yeah. And how's that like, shipping into other countries? What requirements do you need? Are there any regulations that they put on you?
Luckily for me, no. And maybe there is that I haven't been aware of, or like I should look for. But luckily for glass, there's nothing too crazy that needs to happen. Like for the UK, for example, they just need to know that it's a sale so that they've already paid taxes on it. Because if you write, I learned the hard way, I sent my sister-in-law something and I wrote that it was a gift, and then she now has to pay duties and taxes on it. So yeah, it's just making sure that it's written down as a sale. Unfortunately for glass, there's no insurance on it. Like usually packages are covered up to X amount of dollars, but because it's a glass piece, they don't cover it. So that's kind of a pain. But I mean, if I'm packaging things correctly, then they don't get broken anyway, which is nice to see. And like I said, I've only had one in the last year and a half, 2 years break in the post. So that's been very nice. Very lucky.
And right now, how has it been for you? Like, how has this year changed from the last one?
I really feel like it's just kind of the tail end of my first year starting. So, or yeah, I guess second year. A few more Christmas commissions, which is nice. Just a lot more custom pieces, which is fun to, work with people and get that back and forth on, what they want and glass and all those things. So yeah, I guess Christmas has been a little bit busier, which is nice. And like I said, I still feel quite new to this. So just kind of dipping my toe into the different markets and see which ones work and which ones, not so busy. Kind of learned this year, Christmas markets, I think, are going to be where it's at. Summertime are very hit and miss. I find lots of, just slow because everyone wants to get out and enjoy their lives while the sun is out. So yeah, I guess just it is slowly growing, but I can't say there's one specific big difference yet. Just working lots.
Just on it, and I imagine improving with each new piece too.
Yeah.
I mean, that has changed.
Yeah, I really do feel like it. There's it's just the artist thing where you're like, I'm so bad, this isn't great. You go through all those motions all the time.
Yeah.
So it finally feels like I'll do something and I'm like, oh, this is like good. And you'll say it the first time instead of like staring at it for 3 hours and having your partner be like, babe, it's fine. Babe, it's beautiful.
You can do it.
So it's just getting to a point where I'll finish something. I'm like, look, it's so nice. You know what I mean? There's no complaints about it. Yeah, definitely getting better with each thing and just getting more adventurous in terms of like 3D pieces. Like I've just done a couple of Christmas trees that I'm going to do for markets and things like that, which is lots of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the ornaments, that holiday market just lighting up, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. It's just lots of fun.
People have like a lot
too.
of orders right now.
Yeah, just trying to get the custom stuff done first.
You ever thought of getting an apprentice, like a seasonal apprentice for these?
I mean, I
these
would
times?
love if money ever allows. I think that would be lots of fun to be able to teach someone or just have someone, there helping out. I mean, not financially available at this particular time, but yeah, I definitely hope that I can grow and get to that point one day, have a full-time employee even, or, have this be my full-time job would be great.
Yeah, start out your own
One day.
Your own workshop, kind of, like you started your own cafe.
Yeah, who knows?
Got that manager experience.
Who knows, run my own shop.
Have you met people here in Alberta who also do this?
Not really, just kind of through the lens of social, if that makes sense. Like I said, there's Kara at Glimpse Glass, who I didn't realize until a few months ago is actually a Calgary artist, which is very cool. And then Ted is also in Calgary. There's just so many popping up lately, which is very exciting to see. But I haven't met any like in person yet. Just, I guess, the people at the glass store who also do glass stuff. Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah, I get you. And when it comes to getting the material, getting the glass, getting the paints, how expensive is it?
It depends. So usually, like pink glass is the most expensive. So it has gold in it, is
right.
what people tell me. So anywhere I say from like $20 for like a 12 by 12 sheet of glass to some of the stuff can be $50, $60 for a square foot, depending on the kind of glass. There's stuff that's called diachronic glass. I'm absolutely butchering that name, but it actually is refracting different colors. So one side will look pink, say, and the other side will look green, which is absolutely crazy, and it looks super, super stunning. But whatever process they use to make that is obviously lots and lots of work. So that is on the more expensive side of things. And then copper foil usually runs you like $20-ish for a roll of it. You've got your solder, that's usually about $30 a pound. And then your equipment, like a glass grinder, will run you $300. So obviously, like, the initial payments are always spicy. Very, very scary.
Yeah, for, like I said, for a lot of cool stuff, you gotta pay. You gotta pay and,
Yeah.
get really good and then make your money back.
Yeah, that's just it. That's just it. And then if the pieces are bigger, because I usually do quite smaller pieces, as you can see, I can do bigger stuff. Once I start scaling up past like 12 inches of a piece, because like I said, that horse piece I had done with the crazy zinc border, that one was very big and lots of extra time with that particular border. So those things, I think I will, have to charge a little bit more for those bits and pieces, but not exponentially, which is nice. Yeah.
What's the biggest one you've ever done?
The horse.
The horse.
Yeah, so that was 12 by 10 inches, like this by this.
Wow.
And it had, I think it was like between 47 and 55 pieces of glass in it.
What?
It was crazy.
Was it the entire, like the horse's body and everything?
No, so it was actually just a horse head.
Yeah.
I should have brought a photo. But yeah, horse head, and then just like crazy colors of hair and stuff. So my client, my aunt, actually, bless her, she's like a second or third aunt. Actually, I think she's a cousin, but I call her an aunt, not that it matters. Yeah, she rang me and she said, I want this horse. So she sent me an inspo photo. She's like, something similar to this. My house colors are X, Y, and Z. Go crazy. And I was like, oh no. Oh, no. I need a bit more direction than that. But she's like, no, I trust you. It's going to be great. I'm a very indecisive person for myself. So trying to pick all these things out for someone else's home was a bit like, oh, I hope she likes this. But she was very, very happy. And I, with every client, whether it be family or not family, I make sure they're very included in the process.
Yeah.
So from design to glass color picking, and if at any point in the process they're like, I actually don't like that bit, like right up until soldering, I should say. If they don't like a bit, or if I'm not feeling a piece, I'm like, maybe we should change a glass, then I'll just be able to go ahead and do that, rather than trying to fix something once it's already soldered can be a bit of a nightmare.
Do you draw it out first and then kind of show them what it'll look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll send photos of, just the plain old design on whether that be Canva or just drawn out on paper, just to get a bit of a gist of it. And then they'll get to see, the different glass choices. And then once I cut that all up, I put it together, kind of like the feathers I showed you, send them a photo of that as well. So you can slowly get to see an idea of the finished product. Because I just hate, you order something and then you're just like waiting. So I make sure that everyone's very, very involved.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. And then getting them to see your vision, that's one of the main things.
Yeah.
And getting them to trust it too.
To trust and just to understand that glass doesn't break in the same way that you can draw. Like I was saying, there's certain ways you can and certain ways you can't break glass. So trying to get people to understand that can sometimes be a bit of a challenge. I had this one client who had actually tried stained glass before. She's actually also a really great ring maker, but she wanted her logo in glass, which was very cool. And, you know, there were a couple pieces where I just said, hey, this isn't going to really work with glass breaking. Like, we're going to just kind of have to shift. And it was very nice for her to understand what I meant by that and just like, oh yeah, no worries. Like, we're going to do this here and do this here, make it easy for you to break and do all the bits that you need to do to make it her vision, which was really nice.
Do you get a lot of corporate clients like that who want to
No,
have the logos on there?
not yet. Fingers crossed. I did do a birthday gift for someone who works at Remax. So maybe from there, that will spring something. Maybe they'll all want to get their employees hot air balloons. Yeah, nothing too corporate yet. Just like I said, just a local jewelry maker from here in Calgary. Yeah, bless her. She saw me at a market and she's like, I need to have a piece, which was very, very nice. Yeah, and it was just lots of fun too to do a project where it wasn't from my brain. Because sometimes you just need that, you know, you want to do something artsy, but I don't want to have to think about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I want someone else to be like, okay, this is what I want done, X, Y, and Z, not, okay, now design something and make it nice.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
You know, just get a bit of writer's block in a sense.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
That's a good way to put
just
it.
like,
Especially like with the pet. I imagine you must have gotten that a lot with the pet, like making the cat.
yeah, absolutely. Or just, you know, you're like, okay, I have a couple hours of free time and I need some new designs. What have I been thinking about? And all of a sudden your brain just stops completely. Like, oh, I've never had an idea ever. But I find that's where I take a lot of screenshots of things, whether that be like cartoons or another glass artist has made something that I'm like, oh, I want to try and make that. Or, you know, do something similar.
YouTube tutorials. Yeah.
Honestly, University of YouTube for everything. I preach it so much. Just a nice tool to have, you know, free education.
And how do you balance this job with your part-time job at the cafe?
Pretty easily, actually. I've been very lucky to find a place that is only open like Monday to Friday and business hours.
Nice.
Which is great. Yeah, so really just try and work 4 days a week there and then just do the glass in between. So if I start a little bit later, maybe I'll get, you know, an hour of cutting in before I go to work or, you know, get home, and then I'll quickly grind up some pieces and, you know, tape them up the next day. So just, like I said, that's kind of, I think, where having a bunch of different projects in different stages comes in handy. Because if I, you know, only have an hour, then I know I can get X, Y, and Z done. If I have 4 hours, then I can get a whole lot more done. I do find it a little bit more challenging now that we've had the time change and winter's coming, or winter's here, it feels like. Yeah, it does feel a bit more challenging in terms of daylight, just because glass can look so different in, you know, studio lights versus natural light, and you kind of want that natural light to pop through. So yeah, this winter will be a bit of a challenge trying to navigate working those off hours and getting glass stuff in the dark. So maybe we'll have some very creative, interesting colors come out in the next couple months.
And you ever thought of going back into hairdressing?
I just kind of had dipped my toes into it last year again. I do love it. I do miss it. I just find it's just kind of a different thing after the pandemic. And it's a lot of people are doing their own hair now, which is absolutely fine. I do my own hair, you know what I mean? It's expensive out there. Some places charge obscene amounts for a haircut. But I don't know. I love the people. I find it very hard to build a clientele of people, you know, because you kind of need a lot of people that are going to be coming in every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks in regular fashion to make it worth your time. So I just found that for myself, there's no money in it anymore. I still love it. I'll still do it for like friends and family, for myself. I love having that skill. And maybe one day I'll go back again, because like I said, I love doing like wigs and hair pieces. That was amazing. But I think just this time in my life, I know coffee, I'm good at coffee. It allows me to do this glass on the side as well. So I think hair is just, you know, one of the many hats I used to wear.
I mean, definitely, if you still got the training, if you still got the hand for it, it's something you can do in the future if you ever feel like it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. You know, it's not going anywhere. And like I said, I can't sit still. So I like to always be doing things. I've had so many different kinds of jobs. I worked at a gelato factory for a while.
A what?
Gelato factory.
Like making jello?
Gelato, sorry.
Gelato.
Gelato, like Italian ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that for a long time. I worked as a pig farmer for a short amount of time.
How was that?
Lots of fun. She's actually a Strathmore girl who brought Mangalitsa pigs to Canada for the first time, which is crazy, and just like built this ginormous business out of it. But she's just the most fun person ever, and just very unhinged. She loves her animals so much. She's just so knowledgeable, and it was a bit scary because they're like big creatures, you know. There's like 300-400 pounds of meat coming right at you, and like they're never gonna hurt you. They just want to play, but it's just scary. It's like waddling up. Yeah, very fun job, stinky job. Like, you know, you get your hands dirty, but you're hanging out outside. There's never going to be 2 days that are the same. You know, like one day pigs are escaping out of their pen and you have to chase them for 45 minutes to 3 hours. You know, sometimes things will be smooth, but then by the end of the day, that's, you know, like it was smooth because there's chaos coming, you know. Yeah, lots of fun doing that. I think one of my favorite jobs ever, just because it's so chill, you know. I know it's dirty, but it's just, you know, feed the pigs, give them a pet, hang out with chickens, you know.
Such a range of jobs, you know, from hairdressing to wrestling pigs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that the craziest one you've had?
I think it's like the most unexpected. If someone were to like look at me and I was like, oh yeah, I used to work on a pig farm. What? Yeah, I'd say it's the most unexpected. I don't know that I have like a craziest job. Everything's been kind of tame, I guess. Just very, what I feel like are normal jobs. Like there's craziness parts in every job, but I don't know that it's the craziest.
All of my jobs have either been related to the field.
Okay.
Except for my first job. My first job was at a dry cleaner.
Really?
Right next to my house. And we would have like 2 clients every hour. So I could just bring in my laptop, just watch some Netflix.
That's
or
amazing.
Because I was in high school, just do some calculus homework.
Perfect.
And then the clients would just come in. I talked to them for about 3 minutes. They would leave. And it'd be like an entire hour until we got another customer.
That's
so my friends
chill.
always joked around at the place that it was a fraud. But no, very, very great place to start out in, and that's what I used to be in.
Okay.
Before I got the TELUS gig, before
Very cool.
I graduated from SAIT and everything.
School.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, you need to have those kind of like not so fun jobs or like boring jobs. Yeah. And sometimes it's like the greatest time of your life. You're like, it got me through X, Y, or Z, you know?
Yeah.
It's a means to an end. And yeah, getting caught up on homework is probably always a plus. Because like there's never enough time. I'm not a student and I don't feel like there's enough time, so I can't imagine.
Yeah, and again, you're doing homework during your job, you know, doing your work. So back to the argument about feeling tired, feeling exhausted at home, because it's supposed to be a place where you relax.
Yeah, safe space. Like I just want to chill. I don't want to have to think about anything. And
now, boom, at your job, you can just get your homework done.
Yeah, exactly. And get paid for it.
You get paid. You get paid to do your homework.
It's a good incentive.
You were on this Outcast Marketplace this summer. How was that like?
So cool. Yeah, the organizers did a great job. Genuinely very impressed with how they ran things in terms of marketing and pushing the event. And we got a photo shoot. I thought it was really cool to have the mix of market and comedy and live music, and they did the short films. Yeah, just a really, really unique experience.
Brought a lot of people together.
Yeah, it really, really did. All kinds of people, and just everyone was in such a good mood. You know, it's summer. There's all kinds of things to check out, and it was just kind of a reason to stay all day as well.
Yeah.
You know, for people coming into the show, because they're like, okay, you know, we got this at this time and this at this time, and maybe come down, you know, check out Inglewood, and then come back for the comedy sets. Like, it was just really cool to see all the people coming in and having a great time. Yeah, genuinely one of my favorite markets that I've done.
And how'd you get connected with it?
That one I actually just saw a sponsored post on Instagram and shot my chance. And luckily they took me on, which was great. That's just a lot of it is just winging it. That's my favorite thing, is just say yes now and figure it out later, you know?
Yeah, just aim.
Yeah. If it's a yes,
if it lands, it lands.
Great.
If it doesn't, you aim somewhere else.
That's just it. That you know, it wasn't meant to be, or you know, maybe I wasn't ready, or you know, a whole host of reasons. But yeah, try not to get upset if it doesn't work out.
Have there been other markets you've been a part of?
Yeah, there's been a few. Like I mentioned, the barn in Shaughnessy, probably one of my favorites. I keep going back to.
The barn.
The barn, the big red barn. Southeast.
Wow, you just unlocked a memory for me.
Oh, yeah, did I?
Because I remember we played hide and seek in that barn, like in 2020. Just one September afternoon, one October afternoon.
Good old days.
That's crazy. It's like, that barn is, it's up by Shaughnessy, and you have to drive up. It's like around this little park.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
It's such a great venue for a market. I feel like it's always super busy. The organizer's been an absolute dream to work with. And yeah, it's just lots of fun. Like, if somewhere's fun, I'm gonna keep coming back again and again and again until they tell me to stop. That one's been really good. I've got one coming up in Marda-Loop, I believe, and then another one at a blacksmith guy is doing a Christmas show and shine thing at his studio. So that will be very interesting. That'll be something that I haven't tried before, like a not private show, but like a market at someone's studio, as opposed to like a community hall or a bigger space. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, just lots of fun meeting people and seeing, you know, okay, this one works, this one's not for me, and you know, kind of go from there.
Are there any other markets you're looking forward to in the future?
All of them, really. Like I said, I got those two coming up in November. I'm gonna go to one in Strathmore in a couple, I guess next month. It's coming up faster than I thought. Nothing like super big. Like Outcast was quite the, you know, collaboration piece. So I haven't really seen anything like that quite yet. And I've stayed away from like the bigger Christmas markets this year, like Market Collective, or I forget that big one that happens not in Calgary. There's some big market. So I've just kind of stayed away from those. I feel like I'm a bit too new to know what I'm getting into yet, you know, kind of give myself this next year, and then maybe I'll try some bigger Christmas markets. For now, it's just kind of smaller ones to see what it's like.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I know there's a huge market here that people go crazy for called the Lavender Festival or something like that.
Oh, the Lilac Festival.
The Lilac Festival, that's the one.
Yes,
yeah,
lots of fun. Lots of fun. That's a great one to go to. Just very busy. Very, very busy.
Wow. I remember people just crowding the streets and everything for that festival.
Oh, and they've expanded it. We'd gone this past year and they've expanded it out past 4th as well. And even still with that expansion, it's nice to see that Calgary comes down and checks out things like that, you know?
And were you there you were there selling stuff?
No, I was just there as a lurker this last year, which was nice, just to kind of see if that's something that I'd maybe be interested in. And you know, sometimes too, I like to go online and see what other makers are saying, you know, because sometimes they're like, oh, you know, this looks like it'd be a great market, but it wasn't great because of X, Y, and Z. So it's nice to kind of get all the sides before making a decision.
And what about next year? Are you looking forward to it? Maybe you can be one of the salespeople there, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be very cool. See how it goes. Like I said, nothing too crazy lined up for next year. Just lots of commissions on the books, lots of customs coming in, which is really, really great to see. So that kind of keeps me super busy. And once that slows down, then I'll kind of take a look at markets again. But yeah, just love doing that custom work. It's fun seeing what people have in their little brains.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Courtney,
Thank
for being here.
you.
We've only got one last question, which we like to ask all of our guests.
Yeah.
If you had one word to describe yourself, which one would it be?
I feel like it has to be stubborn.
Me too.
I know, I've said so many times.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think that's like the main motivation behind a lot of what I do is I'm stubborn and I need to get it done. I need to try it. So.
You need to try different things. You need to get it done. You need to come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining us, Courtney.
It's been great.
Yeah, it was great hearing your story and then getting to see your artwork and seeing the process of how it's done. Thank you for bringing all those pieces.
Yeah, that's all right. Cheers.
Yeah. All right, guys. And thank you so much for watching this episode of Authentically Albertan. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay authentic.